In this video, I'm going to be talking a bit about the basics of automation in Cakewalk. Now, I'm using Cakewalk, but really it should work with any DAW, because I'm mostly just talking about kind of principles. So I'll be talking a bit about what automation is, what it's used for, when to use it, and much more. So without further ado, let's get into it. So let's go ahead and start with a basic question of what even is automation? And automation is a way to change a specific parameter of an instrument or audio track. And if that sounds confusing, then I'm going to show you in here in just a second what I mean. So for this, I'm going to be playing you this track here that I've made. And specifically, when I play it, I want you to pay attention to the vocals, especially, because that's what I have the automation on, and I'll explain it after you listen to it. What I'm trying to do here is just give you a bit of context on this, so let's go ahead and play it and I'll show you what I mean. Won't you come and tell me what it's like to be lonely? Won't you tell me where you're from and let me see what it's like to be lonely? So I'm going to stop it right there. As you can see at this end here, let me zoom in on this real quick. So as you can see here, you see these little lines, right, that's going up. Or as you listen to it, you kind of heard like the delay that I have on there. It's like it's getting bigger. Like you can hear it a lot more prominently than before. And that's basically what automation does, is it takes a parameter of, it can be an effect too that's on an instrument or an audio track, and it changes that parameter to make it smaller, bigger, quieter. You know, it can just do a whole bunch of different things. I'm going to show you specifically what I did here on this specific track here. And what I did was the delay. So I am actually going to be recreating this here in just a moment to show you how I made this. All right, so I've duplicated this track here. So how do you start automating something? Like, where do you start? So what you'll want to do is open the automation lane. And that button is right down here. You click this, you'll see a little thing pop up here. And this is where you're going to be doing your automating. And this is how you can do like what you saw up here. So when you're going in automation, you have to think, what is my goal here? So you can't just go in there and just kind of start throwing things in there. Well, I mean, I guess you could, but it's good to have a plan going in so you can think of, oh, this is the effect that I want in my head. So that way you can try to get it on here. Let me go ahead and show you the effect that I want to try to change. So if I play this last little phrase here, below there, I mean, you kind of hear a little bit of the delay, but it's just kind of dead space basically in between here and the pre-chorus. I want something to kind of make it more interesting, right? Otherwise it just kind of sounds bland, a little flat maybe. So what I did was I took this delay plugin here and I did some automation on it. And when you want to change a parameter of it, specifically I want to change this mix slider here because that's going to affect how much delay is in the mix of the vocal track. But what I'm trying to say is I want to change that parameter so that way there's more delay in the vocal at the end. So if I real quick change this, let's say I want to open up here. It's not gonna really do anything. It's gonna get louder, and that's not what I want. And this is happening, of course, because it's on a volume, and I don't want to change volume. I want to change the delay. So you can change it by clicking on it, and if you go down here, you'll see all of the effects that you'll have on there. And specifically, I want to do the delay. And you'll see a big list of a bunch of things, but again, we remember that the effect that I want to change is the mix. Now we see two mixes in this list. We have mix R and mix L, and what that means is mix L is the mix in the left ear, and the mix R is the mix in the right ear. So since I want to change this, I'm going to go ahead and start with mix R. Now if you're doing something like this, you have to do it both times for the right side and the left side. I currently don't know of a way to do it both at the same time. You might be able to copy it and paste it somehow, but anyway, so And again, when you hover over the little line here, you'll see a pencil on there. And if you click on this, it'll create a node. And that's going to be how you're changing it. So what you'll want to do when you're wanting to change something is you want to create two nodes. So click on one to create one, and then click over here to make another node. And then what you can do is you can raise this node up to change the value. And the reason of making this first node is so that it doesn't change the parameter for the entire song, because that's not what we want. We want the delay, we want more delay in this specific point only. And this is really where you use automation. And let's go ahead and listen to it real quick. See what we got. Below take your pain, take your hurt. Now that's a lot closer to what we want. But the problem is, of course, it's going through the rest of the song and we don't want that. It's going to be on the vocal for the rest of the time. And of course, it's pretty easy to change that. All we do is just create two more nodes, and then we're going to bring it back down to at least somewhere where it is around there. I do want it a little bit higher than it was in the verse though, so I'm going to have it a little bit higher than it was. Take your pain, take your hurt. Yeah, and that sounds pretty good. But another thing that you can do if you wanted to is if I delete that node, is you can have it be like it opens up and then it slowly goes back down throughout this dead space here. Let's go ahead and listen to it here and see how that sounds. And personally, I kind of like how the second option sounds a little bit better, just because it's a little bit more of a... It opens up and it feels like it's getting more distant as time goes on, kind of a thing. And that's basically really all I did for that specific part of the song, so... and then I just went and changed it to Mix L, and I did the same thing. Let's go ahead and start. It doesn't have to be exactly how it was. I kind of like the idea of one being a little bit lower than the other. And then, like, it doesn't quite go down as quickly. What I mean by that is I'm going to go a little bit further than this one did. I'm going to go maybe after the first phrase, and then turn it down. So now if we listen to this. To be loaded. Take your pain, take your hurt. That sounds, in my opinion, a lot better than just dead space. And it actually shows automation, I think, in a pretty good way. At least it's a good example of automation there. So, now that you know what automation is, when do you use automation? Really, you want to try to use it in anything that you want to create a desired effect, but only for a short time. Because this way you don't have to make a second audio track and then, you know, duplicate the vocals and everything. You know, this way it's just really easy. You don't have to do anything like that. You don't have to get super complicated. It's just something that you can go in there, create some nodes and stuff. The thing is, I feel like automation can look kind of daunting sometimes. Like you don't really know what to do, but I think it's a really nice tool to have. So real quick, I'm going to show you. So you remember how I made this, right? This original thing. But I'm going to go even further in this example, and I'm going to show you more ways that I could make this maybe more interesting. Because for example, let's say I want to increase the reverb on this. I could do that again by using automation. Alright, so I got the reverb plugin where I want it for the entire track. And then I'm going to go in to the automation here, and I'm going to change one of them. I don't know why there's two now, but I'm going to change one of them to the reverb plugin, the wet level. Because again, the wet is what controls like the overall reverb on the vocal. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a node, maybe about where the rest is. Let's go actually maybe a little bit before. It doesn't really matter. That's all just because a lot of even things like this is just experimentation, so you just have to play with what you like and find kind of what you do. Anyway, I'm gonna have it open up here. Almost that. that is a lot. Just slightly. Take your pain, take your hurt. So, and I actually do kind of like that a little bit. I'm a little iffy on it, but as I'm just showing you examples of ways you can use this. And if I did this, I think I wouldn't really change this going into the pre-chorus, because I do kind of like the pre-chorus with a little bit more reverb in there. I think it adds quite a bit more to it, so I would just leave it at that for me. But yeah, I recommend you go into your DAW and play around with automation, because that's how you learn stuff. You practice the skill, even if it turns out sounding absolutely terrible, you can just, you know, right click and clear all. So it's really easy, especially in Cakewalk, I feel like, to just really easily change automation and play with it, find what you like. So yeah, I guess that's about it. Thank you all for watching this video and everything, and if you have any further questions, let me know in the comments below. Be sure to watch this video that YouTube recommends for you, and I'll see you next video.